Even here in Maryland, there's a case. People who had information wrong on the application, people were calling them up. Mr. Green, you didn't find the bottom that says comptroller. Do you want us to fill that in for you? Can you tell us who you like? Oh, I forgot. Put a Jingleberry on there. Okay, we're going to check you off for Jingleberry. And then we'll sign it for you and send it in. Then the commissioner comes and says, hey, you can't fill it in. They got to do it themselves. So you can't count that vote. Well, we did like 2,000. We don't know who did what. So we just let it go. Mm-hmm. Okay, just go ahead and let it go. This is what I mean when I say discrepancy. Just because you don't use the word properly doesn't mean you're a liar. President is saying fake, counterfeit, when the word he should supposed to say is, and they found those discrepancies. They said, well, this one right here, 400 points goes to Trump. So even if it's 400 points for Trump and 6,000 for Biden, it's still a discrepancy when you say 6,400 for Biden, because that's not accurate. For all of you who think it's just a bunch of bullshit, let me explain to you. It's called a numbers game. When you have a certain number of numbers and a certain number of votes, this is how we determine the retirement benefit for an exiting president, not an impeached president. Clinton didn't get it, but a 4-year president. The numbers have to be a certain way. Now, with the way that they're trying to cheat those numbers, president would get no security detail. And he wants the security detail. He needs the protection. So some people are saying, well, you get the security automatically. No, you don't. There's been 3 presidents, Ford being one of them, who did not get the security detail. Not that he didn't want it. His numbers were not highly approved. So he had to pay for security. He had his own state police or whatever you call them over there in that state. But there was not Secret Service. And they're trying to do the same thing to Trump. Oh, yeah. And Ford did a lot for black people. Like I said, when you do a lot for black people, the government frowns on it. President Ford created a drug rehab facility in the name of his wife called the Betty Ford Clinic. That was where should I tell that story? That's where Bobby Brown met Whitney Houston at the Betty Ford Clinic. They did not meet at the awards ceremony. They met each other in rehab. And as they say in rehab, you can't fall in love because all you do is substitute your addiction for the relationship and feed the addiction and makes it stronger. Doesn't matter if it's a male or a female. And before there was a Bobby, there was a Robin. That's where the nonsense comes from. Not the Robin that we had to Black History Minute, but a basketball player named Robin, who recently wrote a book telling everybody she had sex with Whitney Houston. And the news media tried to run that girl's reputation in the ground. And then came Donald Trump run for president, and they stopped talking about the story. See, the media always looking for the next best thing. I call them distractions. So when something goes on, they find a distraction to hide your eyes from seeing what's going on. You know we got a space station. You know they're sending food up there. You know that there's a war going on. We haven't sent no troops to the war. Distracted from saying those three things by the talk of presidential election, presidential tweet, and trying to help Brandon Scott do this and do that, or the governor being gung-ho with the COVID restrictions. And it happened so fast that you all just don't understand what's going on. You got to pay attention. Like I said, you got to watch what happens with your very own eyes. Did you not see on Monday the governor was in a positive attitude, talked about how the COVID was subsiding, we made it past the curve. And then on Tuesday, he immediately said the COVID is up all over. That happened. How do you go from 88-degree fever to 102-degree fever within a matter of a day? Fever don't run that fast. Not even Ebola killed nobody in a day. Ebola took time to travel and escalate, boil the blood and all that stuff. But it was a total 360 or 180, whatever you want to call it, after a day. Puppet on a string, I call it. And you're going right back to the same thing that you said to do before. Now, common sense would suggest maybe the COVID went up because of all those people that was lined up trying to vote because they weren't social distancing. And that's all over the world. I thought we would hear something on November the 4th about the COVID going up because of all the people out there voting. But we didn't hear nothing. In fact, we didn't hear nothing for a whole 3 weeks later. Now we're hearing 3 weeks later. Oh, yeah, you got to wear the mask. You're going to have some people enforce it. How are you going to know the virus going down or the virus is going up just from everybody wearing a mask? After we just learned the mask doesn't work. So, but I ain't going to talk to you, though. Who we got for the Black History Minute, Green?
On today's Black History Minute is Flip Wilson, American comedian and actor, was best known for television appearances during the late 1960s, 1970s, and 1974. He was hosted his own weekly variety show series, The Flip Wilson Show, introduced viewers to his recurring characters, Geraldine, the series earned Flip Wilson Golden Globe Awards and 2 Emmy Awards, and at the point of his second highest rated show on network television. Wilson was an African American host a successful variety show. In January of 1972, Time Magazine featured Flip Wilson on a cover and named him TV's first black superstar. Flip Wilson, this is your Black History Minute.
Yeah, Flip Wilson he was the first person to do what Carol Burnett was doing. See, every time that there's a successful show, the white people, not that she's a racist, she's only doing what her producers and all say to do. The producers come along and take the idea and they duplicate it. Just like our show is a successful show and somebody somewhere is duplicating what we do and trying to get a go at it. Flip Wilson, so he did a TV series, I think it only lasted one season, where he was the father working as a mailman. He was married to Gladys Knight, and Jaleel White was their son. This was the first role Jaleel White played in before he became Steve Urkel. I guess you can try to Google it and see what the show is. I doubt it comes up.
Let me check. No, I didn't read so much. No. It should be Charlie and Company.
Charlie and Company. I think that's it. What you Google? Jaleel White?
Yeah. Yeah, Charlie and Company. There was a show on. It was unlike the Cosby Show, in which it ran for 8 seasons. Charlie and Company lasted only 1. It was a family show. He had last night was his wife, and he had 3 other kids. One oldest one. Yeah, it was on ABC television. It ran through September 1985 to May 1986. Yeah, a family in the South Side of Chicago.
Yep.
Last night, a 3 couple of children, a 16-year-old named Junior, a 15-year-old named Lauren, and a 9-year-old named Robert, who also was with Jill White. Della Reese also joined the cast later.
Yep.
The first half of Charlie's sister-in-law, Aunt Rachel.
Right. Now, if you realize all of those characters, I don't want to talk bad about the people, but what happened was when you're rich and black, they do things. It was a guy named Alan Katz who helped to write the show. Katz is a Jeep. And 3 people were sitting at the table when they decided to write the script. All 3 of the children have become very famous celebrities. The oldest son, you all know him on a sitcom. It was Christoph St. John. He was the guy who plays on All My Children. Everybody say, he's so cute. Like that was his first role. He was on that show. Recently, his son committed suicide, and he's still trying to fight through it. I think he killed himself, if I'm not mistaken, recently. I guess you had to Google that, too. So anyway, Gladys Knight performed the theme song, which was called Family. She sang it. She owned the rights to the song, and she owned the rights to the character. Alan Katz gambled the rights to the show, and Flip Wilson later, not too long after this show, had passed away, almost penniless and broke. So as a favor to them, Bill Cosby bought half the rights to this show, and Reginald Vell Johnson bought the other half of the show. Reginald Vell Johnson is not rich. He's an actor. He took the script to a producing couple, Miller and Boyette, and they wrote Family Matters based on this show, which they brought Jaleel White into the show. Christoph St. John went on to play soap operas. Gladys Knight went on to continue singing. And that show, because the song was called The